The witches from the coven on The View yesterday discussed the pardon issue. I'm sure that they're quite upset with the president, right? And his lies. That's what I'm expecting to hear.
Two things, because I respect it as a parent. I understand why he would do it, but I wonder to understand why lie about it for so long.
Right.
I'd stop calling it a lie.
Okay, why repeatedly say you're not going to and you do? And secondarily, for the part of this country, half of it that doesn't support Biden, doesn't know him personally, doesn't get to have phone calls, and they're just looking at a system that seems like it's only benefits the people who are in power.
I'm going to say,
what precedent does that set?
Well, here's what it says. It's a precedent for all of us to open our eyes because we've elected someone who is in a similar situation, who didn't have a drug problem, who knew what he was doing, who clearly stood and said, I can do this. And he did it. So I think,
what in the world?
For many reasons, this is very different than any other situation that we have ever dealt with.
Because how many presidents' sons have committed felonies like that? Yeah, it's a very different situation. What is even her point?
Yeah.
So Joe Biden's not on drugs, and so he pardoned his son who was doing drugs?
No,
or is it Hunter's not on drugs anymore?
No, she's talking about Trump. She's made this entire thing. She takes the long ass way to the well to try to make it so no clucking hens. Just play the last 20 seconds. Or you want to play the whole thing?
Yeah, play the whole thing.
All right.
Yeah.
Two things, because I respect it as a parent. I understand why he would do it, but I wonder to understand why lie about it for so long.
Pause it for a second.
I'd stop.
I don't care what you would call it. It is a lie. You know he had this planned the whole time. You know there was no way he was going to let this stand. He knew at the time, he knew then, just as he knew Sunday, that he was going to pardon this guy. He knew it the whole time. Give me that. I wouldn't call it a lie. Well, of course you wouldn't. You're pathetic. And you're in on the lies for this family. Every single day. All right, let him go.
I'd stop calling it a lie.
Okay, why repeatedly say you're not going to and you do? And secondarily, for the part of this country, half of it that doesn't support Biden, doesn't know him personally, doesn't get to have phone calls, and they're just looking at a system that seems like it's only benefits the people who are in power.
I'm going to say,
what precedent does that set?
Well, here's what it says. It's a precedent for all of us to open our eyes because we've elected someone who is in a similar situation, who didn't have a drug problem, who knew what he was doing, who clearly
I got it.
stood and said,
Jesus.
Holy cow.
So you got it now, Pat?
I got
come
it.
on. The wisdom is just flowing out of her.
Wow. To turn this around on Trump. It's incredible. It's incredible. I mean, everything. Wow, there's no limit to how much they hate that guy, and really all conservatives. Really, every American who voted for him, they hate you. I mean, I don't care, but it's pretty obvious that they're just filled with hatred for over half of this country. And here was Congresswoman Jasmine Crockett's take on all of this.
Is she boarding a plane?
She's boarding a plane.
I would not want to be on a plane with this woman under
interview ever.
Any circumstance. It's so weird.
Well, I won't pretend to speak for the entire caucus, but I will say, way to go, Joe. Let me be the first one to congratulate the president for deciding to do this, because at the end of the day, we know that we have a 34-count convicted felon that is about to walk into the White House. So for anyone that wants to clutch their pearls now because he decided that he was going to pardon his son, I would say take a look in the mirror, because we also know that when it comes to this cabinet has more people accused of sexual assault than any incoming cabinet probably ever in the history of America. So we are living in unprecedented times, and
shut her up. Oh my gosh. So she's obviously talking about Pete Hegseth. Yeah, not only has he not been convicted like Hunter was, but he hasn't even been charged with anything. So we're supposed to discount people just because someone has accused them of something? That's not how America works, pumpkin. And maybe it does in your mind, But thankfully, your mind is not reality. Wow.